Thank you. And now we'll be entering into an executive session. Mr. Eldridge, if you could announce.
Would you like me to fill that motion out
Fill
for
the
you?
motion in, yes.
Okay, so this is a motion to move into executive session as whereas the Open Public Meeting Act authorizes the Board of Education to meet in executive session under certain circumstances, and whereas the Open Public Meetings Act requires the board to adopt a resolution at a public meeting to go into private session. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lawrence Township Board of Education that it is necessary to meet in executive session to discuss certain items involving, and on tonight's agenda, there is item 7 of that, matters involving anticipated or pending litigation, including matters of attorney-client privilege, specifically KB on behalf of SB versus the Lawrence Township Board of Education, and number 8 of this list of items having to do with the superintendent's evaluation. Furthermore, that this executive session will end and we will resume regular session at 7 o'clock and that no formal action will be taken. So you'll need a motion and a second on that.
So moved?
Second.
So that is moved by Mr. Van Hise and seconded by Ms. Evans. Would you like me to call it?
Yes, if please call roll.
Ms. Bose?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Grover?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King? Mr. Pluta? Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise?
Yes.
Ms. Farmer?
Yes,
You are now in executive session.
thank you.
Lakewood Park. That's where I grew up. Lakewood Park.
Actually, I already had it written in from last time. Honest to God.
Okay. Announcement of open public meeting. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to advance notice and to attend meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. As required under law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided via email and/or fax to the Times, the Lawrence Ledger, the Public Library, and has been filed with the municipal clerk. This notice is provided prior to 48 hours, required by the Open Public Meetings Act. The board reserves the right to limit public discussion of personnel items and other matters as defined in the law. We will now do the flag salute. Thank you. We will now have our student representative report.
Hello, my name is Patrick Maloney, and I'm part of peer leadership as well as soccer and wrestling here at LHS. So some recent events we've had here is our sports banquet, which celebrated all of our seniors who participated in sports with different special awards for each of them. On to another thing about sports. Majority of our teams have finished their spring seasons. However, track has states coming soon, and they have been doing phenomenal, so we are really excited for them. Speaking of finishing up, all of our testing is finally over, including AP exams, and we only have about 9 days of school left.
Who's counting?
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Megan Simpson. I'm a part of DECA, lacrosse, swim, and peer leadership here at LHS. Last week we had prom, and Thursday was a special day for our seniors. They started off with breakfast provided by Project Graduation, and that was followed by the Distracted Drivers presentation. Prom was that evening at the Marion, and everyone had a good time. Graduation is on the 21st, and it's back at the Cure Arena after 2 years. And then 2 nights ago, there was a gun violence vigil and rally here at LHS. It was organized by Lawrence Youth Against Gun Violence, which is a new club here. It was a vigil for recent gun violence victims, and then the gospel choir also performed during that. That was followed by a rally with guests and student speakers, and it was a really powerful event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julia Roman. I am a member of peer leadership and currently running for class treasurer. Our senior awards are tomorrow night. Many seniors will be receiving awards and scholarships for all of the hard work they've done this year. This Friday, we are having our school picnic during resource periods. There will be outdoor games and a dunk tank, which will have teachers on top. And it's supposed to be really good weather, so it should be a fun day. Also, this Friday and Saturday, the theater department is putting on Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. They've been working really hard on this and are excited to show everyone. And all current 9th, 10th, and 11th grades will be having class elections next week. There are many great candidates in the running, so it'll be interesting to see the outcome. May 13th, math classes had, including pre-calc and calc, had a Hershey Park trip for the day. The weather was great, and there were a lot of fun rides and food, and overall it was a great trip. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Milan Naropant. I am a junior at Lawrence High School, and I am the president of the STEM Academy as well as editor-in-chief of the Lawrencian. I'm also a part of peer leadership. So this Thursday, so tomorrow, the 9th, the STEM Academy is having their last all-call, and it's going to be a Rube Goldberg event. Seniors need to get their papers for out to lunch and parking next year, so that's also happening. Signups for fall sports as well as interest meetings are starting to happen for next year. This past weekend, Saturday, the June 4th SAT occurred at Lawrence High School. Classes like AP Bio, Biology, and the Core Academy are having their end of the year trips, for example, canoeing, and they are also going to the Pine Barren. Culture Fest, hosted by International Alliance, happened on the 26th, and it featured incredible performances and lots of tasty food. Thank you, and thanks for having us, and have a great afternoon.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
you.
you.
Now we'll have recognition and acknowledgements.
Good evening. It's wonderful to see so many people here tonight. I'm going to move a lot of my superintendent's report up to recognition and acknowledgements because the people here tonight truly deserve to be recognized, applauded, and celebrated. It has been a really challenging 2 years. That said, we've had a lot of wins, we've had some laughs, we've had a lot of success, and the people here tonight are a huge part of why we have come out as well as we have. So we wanted to recognize them, applaud them, and start tonight with a celebration. The first group I want to recognize are our nurses. They have been on the front line of so much during the last 2 years and making decisions and really working with us to keep our kids safe, keep our staff safe, to be a sounding board, to connect with families. It has really been a monumental effort. They have worked well with the health department, with their principals, with our staff, and I can't be more appreciative and have more gratitude for the work that they have done. So as a small token, we have created certificates for them. I know some of them are here tonight, but we wanted to call all of their names and have them, those that are here, come down and get a certificate, get a group photo, and really give a chance to applaud their efforts this year as they have made such a difference in the lives of our kids, our staff, and our families. So first, I would like to bring down Suzanne Adamski. Cynthia Brennan. Rachel Chalier. Rebecca Darty. Janelle Jones. Allison Lally. Brittany Mantone. Jane Plunkett. Cynthia Regan. Latoya Rutherford. Lynn Trania. And Lori Wilson. We also have 2 health office assistants that were equally as critical to helping out the load and helping out contacting families and really keeping our students and staff safe. We have Lisa Miko Lejak. And Dilnaz Sharaf.
Thank you.
Wonderful smile. 3, 2, 1.
Woohoo! Make me smile. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Being an educator is a challenging job, and I can't remember a more challenging time than the last 2 years. Our whole educational staff is truly fabulous, and I can say that as I've been in other districts. I feel fortunate to work here as we have so many talented and special people. To be named the best of the best, especially during a pandemic, is truly an accomplishment. I hope that all of you that receive the Governor Education Award go home and celebrate not only tonight, but the rest of the week and the weekend, because you truly deserve it. It is a tremendous accomplishment. So Ashai has created a video so we get to see all of the winners and put a name to a face. And then I know some of you are here tonight. We would like to recognize you tonight and also give you a certificate and gain a group picture. So with that, I'd like to show the video.
Yeah. Woo-hoo!
And again, it's so nice to have so many of them here with us tonight. We'd like to recognize them. I think I know who's here. If I miss you at the end, please just stand up and say you forgot me. But Jennifer Scorpa. Renu Bangwagi. Denise Martini. Adrian Wasserleben.
There she is, and there's the baby.
Karen Klieger. Suzanne Adamski. Margaret DiTomaso. And Jill Lee Yu.
And 3, 2, 1. Beautiful.
You are my hero.
Thank you again for your efforts, and please celebrate this tremendous honor and accomplishment. To have that here in Lawrence is something that's truly special. And then finally, we have several retirements that we want to acknowledge tonight. We want to thank those folks for their tremendous service and dedication to our kids. We want to wish them the very best in their retirement. We want to thank their families for allowing them to share their gifts with the Lawrence School District and everything that they did. They've put so much time and energy. If you added up all the years of service between these retirees, you're well above 500 to 1,000 years. It's just really amazing. So we have another video so you can put some names to faces. And then I think it's special. I believe we have 2 or 3 of them here tonight, and we want to recognize them again with a gift. Also, I forgot to share that the Board of Education gives the teachers and educators of the year $100 to spend on their classroom supplies for next year. And we have a nice parting gift for those that are retiring. So it's a great night, and it's wonderful to recognize their accomplishments. So with that, we'll show their video. Let's give them another round of applause. So I believe tonight we have here with us, and would like to ask Susan Gold to come up. And I know I saw Diane Schneck. And I think Deborah Dorner is also here. And I think that's everybody tonight.
One last time. And 3, 2, 1.
He's got it down. Look at that. Woohoo! Thank you.
And before I turn it over for any board members for comments and things like that, I would really like to also thank Ashaya for putting those videos together, and Sean and his entire office for getting the lists and the gifts together and things like that. Thank you so much.
Yes. Also, I would like to just extend a tremendous amount of gratitude to the nurses because of the work that they've had to do these last couple of years with our students. As a parent, I'm so very grateful for all that you do for our students. So I want to just give you a special thank you and a shout out. including everyone else, but especially the nurses. I was gonna say.
So I know that we do have school tomorrow. Those that are here for that part of the ceremony and would like to go, we will give you a couple minutes if you want to get up and go celebrate with your families and friends and have the night off. We can certainly recommend that you may want to take that time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you to all. So she was a young one, too. She's a little peanut compared to him. So sweet. Yeah, perfect, right? It's great.
Okay.
I told you, my middle one is expecting their fourth.
Now we will move to the board secretary's report or adoption of minutes. Missed that one. Oh, it's up there. H, okay. I'm sorry, we will adopt the minutes at this time.
Good, I'll move the minutes from the May 11th meeting.
Second?
Mr. Secretary, if you could call the roll, please.
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Mrs. Grover,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Pluta,
Yes.
Ms. Santos,
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise,
Yes.
Ms. Farmer,
Yes,
and motion carried.
thank you. And Mr. Superintendent, if you could.
Sure.
for us.
The tragic shooting that occurred at the Robb Elementary School in Texas left our entire school community stunned and saddened. The rally that was on Monday night against gun violence, led by our Lawrence High School students, was extremely powerful. I am so proud of our students for planning and organizing such an event, which let their voices be heard, and they made a difference. As our nation strives to search for answers, our thoughts quickly turn to the children and staff of our own schools. Please know that our district takes the safety and security of our students, of our staff, and our families very seriously. We strive to provide our students and staff with a safe, secure environment to work, learn, and grow. As a district, we've taken major strides to have a comprehensive security and safety program. In creating our comprehensive safety plan, there exists a strong relationship between mental health, counseling support, a partner with our law enforcement, in particular Lawrence Police Department, technology enhancements, and training. We continually monitor, adjust, and enhance our plan to keep all safe. Our efforts include an SRO and Class 3 police officers hired specifically to work within our schools. We have a long-standing and very positive working relationship with the Lawrenceville Police Department. We have security vestibules at every school with staff dedicated to ensure visitors are following protocols and that our procedures are enforced. We have, as you saw tonight, a group of caring and dedicated group of counselors, a student assistant counselor, child study team members, classroom educators, administrators, and school nurses who serve to support our students. We have a SAGE program that employs full-time mental health clinicians to provide support for students and their families when they face mental health crises. All of our classrooms are equipped with phones that any staff member can put a building into lockdown to guard against a threat. We utilize a security monitoring platform that monitors our students' district-issued Google accounts. We hold fire and security drills and practice them every single month at all of our schools. And we continue to upgrade and add more security cameras. We continually update and improve our emergency management system. This system enables us to efficiently and effectively communicate any emergency simultaneously. Once an emergency is initiated, the system sends a public address announcement, it contacts the police, it can send text messages to groups, it can disable swipe cards, and it can initiate strobe lights to let people know what's happening in our buildings. We will have emergency lockdown buttons placed strategically through our schools. Pushing one of these buttons initiates a lockdown through the emergency management system and informs all. And then soon we will have, as part of the emergency management system, a door access control system that informs administration and central office staff and office staff if a door is propped open, if a door is opened up that shouldn't be. Our current emergency plan, along with the technology, the training, and probably most importantly, the people, our district is one of the most secure in the state. And I know the board agrees. We will continue to monitor. We will continue to work with the experts. We will continue to build that relationship with our police department and do everything we possibly can to keep our students and staff safe. And then finally, as our school year comes to a close, I really want to thank everyone for their hard work, their support, and their patience. I have so much gratitude and appreciation for the efforts of our students, our staff, our families, our PTOs, our Ed Foundation, our Board of Education, for what they have done to make the last 2 years successful for our students. And with that, I want to wish everyone a safe, rejuvenating, and enjoyable summer. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. Kaysen. And now for our board secretary's report.
We are winding down the current school year and beginning the next school year, and the Finance Committee did meet and had a very lengthy agenda. I believe there were something to the effect of 17 or 18 items on that agenda. And so most of the report that I would give is wrapped up in that agenda. I would add one comment and piggyback on Dr. Kaysen's remarks. Lawrence Township Board of Education began all of those initiatives far before any of the things, the incidents that were just mentioned. We had begun the planning for all of the lockdown procedures and all the door prop systems, as well as all the telephones in the vestibules and security film on the windows and notification systems. All of that was happening as early as 2018. And so for the public that's hearing this message, your Board of Education was very much in front of these things that we at the time hadn't brought in SROs to the schools. But I'll share a quick story with you. I was at one of our schools recently, and one of the parents, a father, had forgotten to bring his child's lunch into school. And so this arrival had already occurred, and I was speaking with the Class 3 officer, and we were in the front of the building. The father walked up and said, I'll take this into the building, and I just want to deliver my child's lunch in the SRO or the Class 3. We use them interchangeably quite often. Said, no, I'll take that for you, sir. I'd be happy to do that for you. And the gentleman looked at him, and he said, no, it's okay, I'll drop it off. And the officer had said, no, really, sir, let me do that for you. It's my pleasure to take care of this. To which the parent understood immediately that this person was there to protect the school, his child, and everyone there. And so I was thinking about this as this encounter happened, and I apologized to the parent, not because anything went wrong, but just that I wanted to make sure he felt welcome. And his response to me was quite telling. He said, "I fully understand. I'm okay. Thank you." And so what was interesting about that was only the first encounter. I'm sure there are many encounters. And furthermore, we see these encounters where our SROs and our Class 3 officers, and I say ours because they're a part of our team now, and of course they're deployed by the township, but they're our team. When they see the parents pull up, they know the parents' names. They know who belongs, they wave, they say hello, and they interact. And they're out there, they are the face of some of our schools. And so it's a wonderful thing. It's been a fantastic relationship. It was an exceptional move of the Board of Education to deploy those police officers. And they are very much accepted by our students and our parents. And so for that, I want you to have that feedback and that little story. And because I could tell the appreciation on the parent's face. He was grateful. And I know that you're there, you're out there, you see the other parents, but it's a different story when you see the interaction and it's right in front of you happening. And so those things I'm sure happen every day. So with that, that's it for me. I'm going to defer everything else out to the finance report when it comes up.
Thank you. Okay. For the president's report, I just, again, too, want to echo Dr. Kaysen's sentiments in what he laid out for us in terms of the security of our students. And I've had an opportunity to see some of that, actual technology, and I was quite impressed. Hope we never have to use it, but, to know that our district is doing everything that they can for our students in terms of keeping them safe. I did attend the vigil of ending gun violence that the students had here the other night, and I can't tell you how impressed I am with the young people. They, like Dr. Kaysen said, they organized, they brought groups together, they thought to bring a gospel choir, for the vigil. They released balloons, they spoke everyone's name, and this group of students have seen a lot and have experienced a lot. But I am very hopeful for our future with them growing up and the passion that they have for change and being a part of that change just spoke volumes. And I couldn't be more proud as a parent, as a Cardinal. I still have that Cardinal in me. And, I'm just so grateful that they have a place that they can use their voices and that they're welcomed to express themselves. So that was amazing. And also, I attended the sports awards banquet. I don't know what I'm going to do with my summer because I'm not going to have anywhere to go and have all these great meals. So I attended the sports award banquet. Food was delicious, but more importantly, the students, again, were amazing. I've been to all the schools. I've interacted with a lot of the students over this past year, and I have to tell you that what I saw at that banquet, the friendship, the passion, the camaraderie, and I remember earlier on when the students were coming to the board meetings and were demanding that we have their sports or the arts, and I'm so glad that they were able to do that because that made all the difference for them in the pandemic. Seeing them at that awards banquet, let me know that, it was the right thing for them. It meant a lot, seeing the theater performances. Again, our students are amazing. They truly are, and I can't wait to see who they grow up to be. So I just want to say that. And with that, I'll stop there. I might get teary-eyed. So. Let's move now to the committee reports, starting with Community Relations and Legislative Affairs. Mr. Johnson.
Madam President, the board, we did meet. However, I don't have a report to present. We'll present it at the next meeting due to the fact that we will meet, I think, next week or the following week.
Okay. Negotiations has not met. Moving on to equity.
We met on May 27th at 8:30 a.m. In attendance were Michelle King, Michelle Bowes, Clifton Thompson, and myself. We discussed the work that Clifton is doing with the Equity Champions. They're currently doing a book study. They're reading 2 different books. One is to help them learn how to communicate better with colleagues who may be averse to the subject of race, as well as a book on understanding what they do impacts the way a child learns. We talked about assigning a chapter or 2 from one of the books to the board members to facilitate a discussion. Clifton also talked about having teachers becoming more involved in the creation of professional development throughout the year, centering on implicit bias and microaggressions. We also talked about using the REAP tool that has been discussed previously to facilitate a vetting process for potential vendors. We went over the visit from Jefferson County Public Schools to LTPS. They provided feedback, which mainly centered around doing more work with the principals and the supervisors, but they thoroughly enjoyed their visit with the board members. And they also invited some of the equity champions in Clifton to their district summer institute.
Okay, thank you very much. Next is guidance and mental health.
Yes. I just wanted to say something in regards to what Ross was talking about. Unfortunately, when we think about all of the stress that kids are going through between COVID, which was a lot, and all of the gun violence that's happening in our schools, we can understand how stressful it is for our students and staff and our families. And as a result of that, we are experiencing a mental health crisis with young people everywhere. And Lawrence Township is not alone in that crisis. And we are seeing children younger and younger dealing with more and more issues and with greater needs, which is putting a lot of pressure on our staff, as well as our guidance counselors and SAGE counselors. We discussed that in our guidance and mental health meeting on the 24th. Ross, Andrew, Linda Mathog, Pepper, Michelle King, Robert, and myself were present. We talked about all of the opportunities that we're trying to bring in to support our staff and supporting our students. We have additional guidance counselors at the high school and another SAGE counselor, which has become a necessity this year, not a luxury. We're doing healing circles training at the high school, and a resource period at the high school is a great opportunity for the high school students to get extra support. We also have something called the Healing Center Engagement Project. The Foundation for Educational Administration, along with 50 other advisors and leaders, designed a comprehensive program to advance best practices in trauma-informed and healing-centered engagement in schools across New Jersey. They will be providing professional development and trauma training across the districts for teachers, aides, and administrative staff in pre-K through 6th grade at the end of the school year. We discussed all the different things that we're going to need in the upcoming year, and anticipating that things are not going to be changing anytime soon. The needs of our students and staff are increasing, and so we can understand we're going to put a lot more into mental health and social and emotional learning next year. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, liaison reports, New Jersey School Board Association.
Our favorite topic. Okay, just a quick overview of what's going on. This coming Friday, June 10th, from 9 to 1, there is a virtual online forum dealing with public relations. The session offers 2 board member academy credits if anybody on the board is interested in gaining those credits. And the theme for this year's event is being proactive with public relations. You can, as always, check New Jersey School Board's Facebook Live. Several different programs are on that site. COVID-19 and the pandemic, they just opened up a whole section on that and the impacts that it's had on all of us, New Jersey school boards, the districts, students, staff. Upcoming webinars, again, you can take a look at those. And podcasts, our dues are paying. We might as well improve ourselves and open up our eyes to some things that maybe would help us if we learned just a little more. On May 14th, 8 a.m. to 11:30 at Mercer County Community College, I attended the Delegates Assembly. I chose to do it remotely. It was a farewell, pretty much program for Larry Feinsod. For those of you who did meet him, he is retiring. And we got to meet the new executive director, Dr. Tim Purnell. He was a director of American Montessori Society. He seems like he's going to be very close to Larry Feinsod, where improving relationships is an important fact. And then the other focus, he said he wants to focus on future educators. Due to the decline in enrollment in these programs, he's making that part of his mission. New Jersey School Board's workshop, you probably all have seen the emails, October 24th to the 26th, the tagline, Facing the Future Together. And New Jersey School Boards, you can view a video documenting, this is what I was talking earlier about, COVID and the effects on New Jersey school boards and schools. And at the Delegates Assembly, we reviewed Robert's Rules of Order. It seems that a lot of school districts need a refresher course. And I have to tell you, I missed an awful lot too when we were going through it. So it's a good idea for us maybe to step in and dust off the book and take a look at it again. There were no resolutions. The only one that was posted was already dealt with. So basically, we looked at policies and reviewed and approved those. There was a revision of a bylaw, and I don't know if anyone else has seen this bylaw because it is confusing the way it was printed. It said that if you want to run for a position of president, vice president, you need to be certified by New Jersey School Board. It's not local school boards. It's only if you want to take a position like I was serving for president and vice president. So the confusion was ironed out, and so if you're interested in taking that position or any of the positions through New Jersey school boards, it makes sense to be certified and kind of know what's going on. Shall I continue or wait till we get to LTEF?
What do you have next is LTEF. It's LTEF, yeah.
Oh, geez, I didn't even look at the sheet. I just always run on with my sentence. Okay, I did attend a virtual meeting for LTEF. We needed to be virtual because our Andrew was unable to get us into the building due to being ill, and I certainly don't know how to do the technology to do that for us. So we did meet virtual, which was kind of a fun meeting for all of us. We looked at next year's calendar, discussions on whether morning or evening meeting times are best. Karen reviewed the results of the spring for the arts program. It was very well attended. Lots of thanks to Kelly, Amy Emmett, and Yvette for contributing, making the event so successful. There still are some pieces of art available if anyone's interested in putting bids in, and they look pretty great. So just visit their website and you can look at that. And then they went over the Super 50/50. I bought a ticket today just so I could see what it's all about. They're only selling 1,000 tickets, and the winner, $10,000. The other half will go to LTEF, and that, I should say, a quarter goes to LTEF, the other quarter goes to Lawrence, what's it called? Lawrence, the Village of Lawrence. So they're sharing in this fundraiser. I do have tickets I can get you tickets, but the best way to do it is you can go online to LTEF and or email LTEF. You can either schedule time to go to the office and pick it up or go to their website and fill out the form that way. So please think about this. It's, as you know, we've certainly received an awful lot of support for them, so take a look at that. And the last thing I think I have is project graduation. Project graduation, as you heard, the positions for chair and treasurer still are vacant. So if you're interested in filling those positions for next year, please do that. Lawn signs for the seniors are still available. I'm sure you've seen them all over town. If you'd like one, please contact Project Graduation. And here's something I thought was interesting. There are still 50 seniors who have not picked up their sign. So if you know a senior or a parent of a senior who didn't get them is listening to this, they can pick them up at the main office at the high school. All the paperwork is there so they can check them off. But if you want to buy one, please do. Senior breakfast was a huge success. Thank you to Lawrence Township response teams for the reenactment. It was a real learning experience, I think, for our students to have on such an important point in their life with prom and moving off into their future endeavors. Project Graduation shut-in event was discussed, food, raffle tickets for prizes for those who attend the event, a map of where the events and activities will be held and discussed at the meeting. And I asked this specific question, there are no guests allowed, so if your senior has a friend from underclass or not in the school, they're not allowed. Any senior that has not signed up for this event can visit any of the posters in the school, visit the QR code to sign in, and it was said that all seniors are welcome if they want to attend. We're going to make it happen for them. This is their last event to get together as a group, so hopefully they don't miss out. And that is my report.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
Now, we'll move on to Lawrence Town Council.
All right, thank you, Madam President. The Lawrence Town Council has had two meetings in May, May the 3rd and May the 17th. I attended both meetings, and the next meeting is on June 21st. Council passed a number of resolutions and dealt with budget issues. However, I would like to report that at the May 3rd meeting, there was a presentation by several Lawrence Township residents dealing with support of the reparations legislation that's now pending in the New Jersey legislature. Township residents Fred Vereen, Sam Frisbee, who's the county commissioner, Nicole Platt, and myself spoke in support of the township adopting a resolution to support the reparations legislation. My understanding is that there are several municipalities in the state of New Jersey who have voted in support of the legislation. And all the legislation does is set up a commission to study New Jersey's role in slavery and other actions that were detrimental to the African Americans and people of color who were enslaved. I would like to point out that Rider University last year published their magazine, which is entitled American Paradox, research that was done concerning the house that Benjamin Van Cleve owned, 18th century house that is a part of Rider University. And based upon the information that was obtained, it indicates that Mr. Van Cleve owned about 240 acres and that Rider University sits on a substantial amount of land that was formerly owned, and that the former Rider University's student residence and admissions office on 206 was a part of the slave plantation that existed at that time. I did not know that in Mercer County we had slaves, that was a part of New Jersey's legacy. I was always taught that slavery was something that existed in the South. However, New Jersey's history indicates that it did exist in New Jersey and even Mercer County. In fact, this article, which was well done and commissioned by the Rider University president, Gregory Del Olmo, it established a task force that was able to come up with historical data that indicates that Mr. Van Cleve owned quite a few slaves and that those slaves resided in the house that sits on their campus. One of the things that I learned in terms of studying the history of Mercer County is that in June of 1792, there was a trial involving two men who were found guilty of killing a former slave who had been accused of poisoning her master. This particular slave's name was Hagar, and Hagar's punishment was she was tied up summarily to a tree, and she was beaten until she later died. And there was a trial held here in Mercer County, and the two men who were found guilty did serve a term of imprisonment. I would like to let everyone know that in terms of New Jersey's history, it's important for our kids to be taught this history because I believe that a lot of stuff that has gone on has been whitewashed, that it hasn't been properly reported. And as a result of the death of George Floyd and the I guess, revelations as to the significant inequalities and inequities that exist among U.S. citizens, namely black, that these are issues that we need to address. However, unless we study the history and understand the origins of slavery and how that currently impacts populations, we're not going to be able to come forward with an effective plan of addressing it. Case in point.
Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I just, we need.
I'm going to finish
Okay.
up. If you look at New Jersey, New Jersey is one of the most segregated states in the nation. You still have people living in predominantly black areas because that was where they were required to live many, many years ago. And in some instances, that inequality has led to a concentration of folks living in poverty and having poor educational outcomes. So with respect to the Township Council, there is a meeting scheduled for June the 21st. At that meeting, I do believe various supporters of the reparations legislation is going to be there, and they're going to ask the township to vote in support of under the hands of slavery in our nation. It's never easy talking about this, but this is something that we have to deal with, that we have to be out front with, so that we can bring forth a remedy that works, so that our nation can be whole.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. What was that? Okay. Growth and redevelopment hasn't met yet. They're meeting next week. Direct Link
Did not meet.
and Partnership. Partnership did meet. The Every Child's Value and LTPS Partnership met on May 26th at 9 a.m. and discussed program updates, positions that are currently open in the Every Child's Value program, discuss summer program activities, and also some follow-up that is needed on the Louisville literacy program discussion that Mr. Thompson had introduced the ECV to. Also discussed was the grant update, program update, and there was a programming report provided. Also, there is an existing document that's being reviewed to take a look at if the learning loss that occurred due to the pandemic in the last 2 years. So that should be coming out at a later date. That's it. And with that, we are at Mercer County VOTEC.
Mercer County VOTEC did not meet.
I do want to just make a note. I had the opportunity to attend their end-of-year luncheon at their Assunpink location, where they have a catering, not catering, what do you call it?
Yeah,
Food.
it's their catering program.
Their catering program.
Supplies the hospitality service as well as
Yes.
the food for the
And-
event.
Yeah, and I have to, it was amazing. I mean, they were so professional. I know I do a lot of eating, it seems like, on this presidential role, but I do have to tell you, I had never seen anything like it. You'd want to hire them on the spot. They did everything from the beverages, the art that went into creating the atmosphere for the theme, which had like a fire and Latin mix. It was just amazing. They had Chipotle ice cream. Just to give you an idea, they did all kind of interesting and intricate savory types of foods, culinary. So they gave away scholarships at that particular end-of-year program. And again, those students did an amazing job. They provided a tremendous service, and they're doing something really special. So I just wanted to share that with you. I did get a chance to go and enjoy the luncheon. That's really good. Okay, so special education is next.
Yes, so the special education thing will be postponed until June 29th. They will, however, be sending a parent survey out from the NJ Department of Education to all parents of students with IEPs ages 3 to 21 in June. It'll be sent by Rutgers University, who's partnering with the DOE to collect the responses from the parents. And that's it.
Thank you so much. And next, do we have any review of communications?
There are none.
Okay. With that, that brings us to our first opportunity for public input. Okay. Is there any- Yeah, if it's the opportunity for public input, you would just state your name, your address, and keep it to 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
My name's Kelly Ganges. I reside at 226 Eldridge Avenue here in Lawrence. I want to stand in the amen corner with Board Member Greg Johnson, who raised the issue about the task force that the legislature is promoting as a part of a bill that has been introduced in the Assembly as well as the State Senate that is in a resolution before our Town Council, we hope on the 21st, and if not, so be it. But I want to impress upon the Board of Education the importance of supporting this type of legislation. There is a need, and particularly with those of you who are intricately involved in education, to very carefully and very clearly assess what happened in America, in New Jersey, in Mercer County, and here in Lawrence, as it relates to the enslavement of African American people. I want to make sure that everyone understands there are misconceptions that have been circling around the world, but some people are being told that slavery was a full employment program for black people. It was not. It was an ugly, horrid, disgraceful chapter in American history. It was about economics. It was about control. It was about the degradation of a people ripped from their homeland and brought here to work. The Middle Passage was amongst one of the most brutal things that has happened in the history of humanity. we hear many mistruths and blatant lies about what happened in America and what didn't happen in America as it relates to slavery. Slavery was something that is real, that we should understand, and we should not deny young people the truth about what we've done. I will close with this. There was a point in time in the country of South Africa when white South Africans thought that the world was about to end when Nelson Mandela was elected president. White South Africans thought that black South Africans would raise up and kill them and rape their women and take their land and remove them, obliterate them from the planet Earth. One man said, "We will have truth and we will have reconciliation." This one Christian man was locked up for 27 years. Unfairly, illegally, but it was allowed to take place. And he came out and said, that ugliness that you have projected upon the world will not take place on my watch. And he created a commission on truth and reconciliation to talk about the truth about what happened and to deal with reconciliation. And in many ways, that's what the whole reparations piece is about. Let's speak to the truth and let's deal with reconciliation and bring us together and let us move on as the great nation that we are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Steve Lustician. I live at 38 Pine Knoll, Lawrenceville. And I think I'm going to hopefully piggyback on a very eloquent statement and a very helpful analysis that Gregory gave. I'd like to return to the issue of the degree to which the reparations task force at the New Jersey level will be an educational moment. I've lived in Mercer County for 29 years, Lawrenceville 13 years, but it's only in the last 4 or 5 years that I've learned more about New Jersey history. And I'm going to refer to some notes because I'm going to cite some statistics. As an undergraduate, I majored in history, but most Americans don't learn American history or New Jersey history that way. In August of last year, the American Historical Association published a study called A Snapshot of the Public's View on History. So being realists, they of course prefaced the report saying, and lamenting, the teaching of history become a political football in recent years, resulting in efforts by those on both sides of the political spectrum to regulate what appears in classrooms across the country. Lost in this legislation, punditry, etc., is how the American public actually understands the past. So in the fall of 2020, they did a national survey of Americans, but asked respondents to look back at the pre-pandemic year. So 2020 was obviously very unusual. What they found was that the top 3 go-to sources for historical knowledge were video sources. That is, consuming information from screens. 69% of respondents said that documentary films or TV was their source. 66% said that fictional films or TV was their source. Fully 62% said that simply TV news was their source. By contrast, only 8% said that college or high school courses were their source of knowledge of history. So I think that we can look at the important role that a New Jersey Reparations Task Force could make in aiding the New Jersey public in learning about their state's history, especially with regard to their own, but also the federal government's contributions to shaping the experiences and circumstances for those who are descendants of the generations of enslaved people in the US. I could digress about the critique that's sometimes made about circumstances not allowing for people to take responsibility for their lives and too much focus on that. But I would remind us all the degree to which the pandemic showed us the effect of circumstances. the enormous weather events that have hit New Jersey, whether it be the Hurricane Sandy, et cetera, or the war in the Ukraine, for an example. Violence can really affect your life choices.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
You want me to close?
Yes,
No, just
please.
wrap it up.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
I would just recommend that someone from our group forward Ryan Haygood's very effective, he's the director of the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice. May 13th, he gave a very eloquent description of the continual effect, generation after generation, since slavery to the present, on African Americans. It's a video that can be distributed to you.
Great.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
One moment. Just looking for my notes. Excuse me, but. Good evening. My name is Robin Bridges Johnson, and I'm here tonight to speak with you regarding the eloquent statement that my husband Gregory Johnson, school board member, I'm piggybacking on his statement regarding the New Jersey Reparations Task Force legislation. I rise before you as a former New Jersey Lawrence Township School Board member. I was elected to my position, and I was also appointed to serve an unexpired term. So I would like to thank each of you for your service to this township, this wonderful place we call home, and where our families are involved in years and years of all kinds of relationships that I can point to. And I'm glad to have known the ones that I do on this board. They all play an important role, you too, Rob, in my family's life here in Lawrence Township. But I'm here today to speak with you just for a little bit of background. I'm also a member of the Lawrenceville League of Women Voters, and I'm also a member of Lawrence Citizens Activists, and I'm here with some fellow social justice warriors who want to make this world and this town, this state, just a better place. So, as you know, Senator Shirley Turner, our senator here in the 15th Legislative District, and Assemblywoman Verlina Reynolds Jackson both introduced bills into the New Jersey State Senate and into the New Jersey Assembly, which creates the New Jersey Reparations Task Force. We're trying to move that along. It's stalled in the state legislature by both the leaders of both houses. There's been a move afoot by Mr. Ryan Haygood, who is the executive director of the New Jersey Social Justice Institute, thank you. And he is trying to get municipalities to, on their own, support the passage of the New Jersey Reparations Task Force. 10 municipalities, I believe, have passed, including our very own Mercer County Board of Commissioners. My husband and I happened to be in the audience that evening when it was discussed, debated by members of the Mercer County Board of Commissioners, and it would pass unanimously. We're hoping that the Lawrence Township Board of Town Council does likewise. There is a hearing on our Town Council meeting on June 21st. We will be there. We were there in March. The bill or the task force I'm distracted. The task force didn't make it to the bill, to the floor. It went to the DEI committee, which my daughter Paige serves as vice chair of the newly formed Lawrence Township DEI committee. It made it out of the DEI committee and it's back to the Lawrence Township Town Council. They're meeting on June 21st, and we would love to see each of you here supporting that and seeing that there's a value to all of the students and families, and the history of this community is can be, is deep and rich, and there's a lot of pain, and there's a lot of,
Thank you, Robin. I'm
Okay.
sorry. Ms. Bridget.
thank you. Yes, thank you.
Johnson.
Okay, so my time is up.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
thank
the
you.
bell.
Maybe I-
Sorry.
Thank
But
you for your
thank you.
time.
Thank you.
Board discussion work session, we don't have any work session to go to, so we will move to the next opportunity for public input. Okay. Seeing none, yeah. Board discussion action items, we don't have any additional ones, right? Okay. Reorganization items, okay.
Madam
Now
President,
we're
I
ready.
will move our reorganization items R1 through R66.
Second.
You have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, if you could call the roll?
Yes. I'm making my way there. It's a long agenda.
Yeah. Good time.
That was made by Mr. Van Hise and seconded by Ms. Evans.
Evans, yes.
Thank you. Ms. Bose.
Yes.
Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Ms. Groger.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Pluta.
Yes.
Ms. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise.
Yes.
Ms. Farmer.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Now moving on to Personnel Committee.
Okay, personnel did meet on June 1st, 8:15. Ross, Sean, Patricia, you, Kevin, Michelle B., and myself, we all met virtually. And the recommendations for high school social studies and English positions, as well as behavior specialist position, was discussed. We also discussed the process of planning for the fall, looking at the needs for positions for leaves, retirements, and resignations, and alternative ways to increase our hiring pool for a variety of positions that are being explored. There were no policies needed to be discussed or recommendations for this agenda. On tonight's agenda, you will see the retirement of the people that we saw tonight. Linda Ryan, District 28 years. Every single one of those years, smiles and positivity every time you walked into the office. She was a joy and a gift to everyone that had the pleasure of interacting with her. Lots of love, good health is wished to Linda in her future role as a retiree. Also, you'll see the retirement of Diane Smith with 31 years of service. Diane is a guidance council secretary, currently at LMS, and we thank her very much for her guidance, support for many students, families that she has served. We also wish her lots of good health and happiness in her retirement. You'll also see resignations, approvals for appointments, salary adjustments, appointments for EDP positions, approval for students to work as technicians at the District Media Center. You'll see transfers, appointments for substitutes and substitute assistants, appointments for leave replacements, teachers for IEP meetings, teachers, substitutes, substitute assistants for ESY programs, appointments for summer school progress teacher. And at this time, I'd like to move P1 through P41.
And if I can just make an amendment on that and have P20 just removed for separate consideration, because I need to recuse myself on that.
Okay, so 1 through 19, and then 21 through 41. Second.
Okay, Mr. Secretary, if you could please call the roll?
Who was the second, Ms. Bose?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So this is P 1 through 19 and 21 through 41. We're excluding
Correct.
20. Ms. Bose?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Mrs. Groger?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Pluta?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise?
Yes.
Ms. Farmer?
Yes,
Motion carried.
And then I'd like to make a motion to move P20.
Second.
It's on a motion by Ms. Groger and seconded by Ms. Bose. May I call the roll? Ms.
yes,
Farmer?
please.
Ms. Bose?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Groger?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Pluta,
Yes.
Ms. Santos,
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise,
Abstain?
Ms. Farmer.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, that brings us to CIAPD.
CIAPD met twice this month. May 19th was a special meeting regarding proposed changes to the Lawrence Middle School schedule. The meeting took place from 1:30 to 3 on that day. In attendance, Mindy Malafsky, Vet Penisowicz, Nicole Sass, Mary Pankos, Ross Kaysen, Andrew Zuckerman, Amanda Santos, Michelle Bowes, Rob Pluta, and myself. Currently, the middle school is operating an 8-block schedule. Having observed the schedule changes at the high school and also evaluating the schedule at the middle school, Lawrence Middle School administration researched and planned for potential changes to the current 8-block schedule. If the plan, if approved, would move to an AB day, meaning that there are only 2 days to the schedule. It's either A or B, and it's a 4-by-4 block schedule instead of an 8 blocks in one day. Potential benefits of this schedule change would be enabling a full year of world language in 8th grade, embedding the ASI instruction within the classrooms, and offering financial literacy to students. The general benefit is longer uninterrupted teaching periods, which benefits both teachers and students. A 30-minute flex period would be added, which can potentially provide for interventions with students, enrichment for students, study skills, performing arts programs to meet, and as well as the potential for executive functioning skills instruction, which is being investigated. The board subcommittee members were able to ask an awful lot of questions of the team, and the team was very willing and open to answering them fully, and the feedback, any feedback that the committee offered. So the committee was very pleased with how detailed we were able to get in that meeting. May 31st, we met for our monthly meeting. The agenda was kept short so that we could review the 1-year post the changes to the Lawrence High School schedule. In attendance at that meeting, Dave Adams, Cliff Williams, Andrew Zuckerman, Ross Kaysen, Michelle Bowes, Pepper Evans, Rob Pluta, and myself. Meeting took place from 8:45 to 10:15. Again, the CIAPD committee received a thorough review of the impact of the changes to the high school schedule over the past school year. Teachers have reported that the new schedule provides students and teachers opportunity to build community, provides flexibility to class sessions, allowing for more depth to the curriculum. Fewer transitions results in increased time on task. And as an aside, or as an additional benefit, the state testing schedule actually fit very well into the way that the new schedule sounds maybe not as important as some of the other benefits, but when the state testing schedule happens and you need to change the high school schedule, it really minimizes the kind of instruction that goes on that week, or more. Students, in fact, reported that they appreciated the fewer disruptions and the fewer transitions to their schedule. They found the schedule was less confusing, more consistency. Previously, again, they're also on an A-B day schedule. Previously, they had A through E days. Homework is now not due the very next day since they're on a 4-by-4 block schedule. Project work, and again, this is reported by students, project work fits better into the schedule. Students have been allowed to move to other more flexible areas of the building to work collaboratively, and they find that engaging. The resource period has been of significant benefit. More students participate in clubs and activities than previously. It allows for sometimes sports teams to hold meetings that they typically would hold after practice, delaying time kids get home from school. That eliminates the need to stay after practice. Counselors have been able to access students during those resource periods and have seen increased contact with students as a result of the resource period. Students have been able to attend support groups that are being offered by the guidance department during those resource periods. Student conflict and mediation, as problems occur, get addressed very quickly soon after the problem has developed. So that happens during the resource period. Some changes or improvements looking toward next year. The pacing of the curriculum is going to be evaluated and addressed. Certainly, if the transition to a longer period and meeting less frequently requires an adjustment to the pacing of the curriculum, which has been already addressed but will be reevaluated. And administrators will continue to support staff in improving their instruction during a larger block of time. They've reported a lot of positive developments as a result of professional development, and they will continue that. Having spent the bulk of the meeting there, we did quickly receive an update on the summer programs. K-8 programs will all happen in person this summer. There is a shortage of teachers interested and available to teach at the high school for the math and English classes. As a result of the lack of staffing, those classes will take on a blended format. It'll be an online course with support from the teacher during the online course and a one-day in-person class. New Jersey SLAW or the NJSLA assessments were completed this month. 28 student refusals for testing, which is significantly lower than previous years. That's all I have for CIAPD. I'd like to move IS 1 through 12. IS 6 and IS 8 have been deferred to another meeting, to 6/29 meeting.
Second?
Okay, with a motion and a second, if we could call the roll?
Ms. Bowes?
Yes.
Excuse me, I apologize, but I do have a question about IS 12 rejecting the Perkins grant funding.
Thanks
I
for
just need
mentioning
to-
that, Greg. That was reviewed at the meeting. The Perkins grant funding is for $10,000 on an annual basis. The reporting that is required, as well as the time spent on the application, doesn't match up with the amount of money received. So Andrew Zuckerman has had his staff and himself apply for the funding, receive the funding, and then complete the follow-up assessment. And it was, the time was far too cumbersome for the maximum amount that is allowed. So that has been denied for this year, and it happens on an annual basis. So always have the chance to regroup and relook at that, but thank you for asking for that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any other questions on the floor? Okay.
Call it.
Call roll, please.
Ms. Bowes?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Schroeder?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Pluta?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise?
Yes.
Mrs. Farmer?
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Okay. Next, we have Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee met for 90 minutes on Friday, June 3rd. In attendance along with me were Michelle King, Michelle Bowes was in for Greg Johnson, Patricia Farmer was in for Kevin Van Hise. Administrators present were Dr. Kaysen and Tom Eldridge. We agreed to reduce the rent of the Capital Y by 50% to reflect their enrollment. The Capital Y provides our after-school programs. We have parties interested in bidding on bus routes that were abandoned by Dapper when they went to North Jersey, and the bids open tomorrow. We agreed to bring student alumni records into this century by digitizing all records starting in 1971. I guess I'll start with Steve Groger, right, Joanne?
I'm serious.
This is, we've budgeted approximately $60,000 for that. Paving contractor asked for $20,000 in additional funds, more than the original contract, which we did not agree, but we may issue a change order for additional work from which they may use their profit to backfill any loss. Our AC units are tripping circuits, essentially blowing fuses. It's not a safety issue, and they've ruled out the simple fixes and will work to resolve the problem permanently. Food service contract is up for bid. Mashio was the only vendor at the pre-bid. That's our current vendor. And the Food Services Department is in the process of receiving its federal audit. This is a regular audit that occurs every few years. Wiring contracts are out for bid at LES, LIS, and LMS. The wiring is for public address systems, clock, and emergency notification systems. Eldridge Park is done. LHS, Slackwood, and Ben Franklin will be on a separate contract. Non-public pass-through funds from IDEA, we contract for the OTPT, speech and special ed. These services are out for quotes. Our own OTPT and speech services bid went out, expect to award by the end of the month. These contracted services are normally used for the out-of-district placements. The custodial contractor anticipates disruption from the Service Employees International Union. Nursing services contract will be awarded 6/29. Our beloved Director of Facilities will retire in August. We are seeking his replacement. And you'll see on the agenda, there's funds transfer, typical end-of-the-year transfers to capital reserve and maintenance reserve. We gave Tom the green light to explore the purchase of another bus or a van. And what? Go ahead.
One thing that I did want to bring back to the Board of Education is based on our concerns generally and trying to extend ourselves beyond. We offered that the new custodial contractor could come on our premises and interview the people who are currently working for All Clean during their shift so that they didn't have to schedule any appointments or things of that nature, and that was occurring. The Campus Services Group made themselves available this evening, and so they did that at the middle school. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to follow up because there was some concern, as Pepper read, about any dealings with union issues, and we wanted to make sure that CSG extended themselves, and that did occur. Sorry.
Thanks for that encouraging news. Thank you, Tom, that's good.
With that, I'd like to move SBM 1 through 8.
Second?
I think we want, was it 1 through 9?
Oh, 1 through 9.
Yep. Are we okay with 1 through 9?
Yeah, we can add 9.
Yes, it's capital Y.
Is there a
Yes.
second?
Second.
We have a second?
Second.
That's Joanne, second.
Got
Ms.
it.
Kroger?
Ms. Bose?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Scroger?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Pluta?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise?
Yes.
Ms. Farmer?
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Brings us to new business.
Okay, and new
Oh,
business?
I'm sorry.
Oops, sorry.
Public input. Right before that, if there's any public input. Seeing none, we'll move on to new business.
I was jumping the gun there. Okay, you will find a new business, one new appointment due to a rescind for a member who took a job closer to home. Woo-hoo. Resignation, ESY appointments, our new instructional supervisor of math, science, and art, Sarah Foster, summer security salary adjustments, and with that, I'd like to move NB1 through, is it 11, NB11?
Second?
Okay, with a motion and a second, please call the roll.
Ms. Bose?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Scroger?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Pluta?
Yes.
Ms. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Van Hise?
Yes.
Ms. Farmer,
Yes,
your motion carried?
thank you. Okay, we are at,
Madam President, if I could
yes.
just extend my personal thanks to all of the board members and especially Dr. Kaysen and Tom and the entire administration. 10 months ago, we sat here hoping we could get through this year, and we did. And it was through the work of everybody up here, our staff, and I would be remiss if having kind of presided over that at that stage, the amount of support and work that was put in by this board and especially Ross, yourself. So, even in the accolades that you had extended the thanks earlier to everyone, don't sell yourself short because you were one of the key instruments in getting us through this year. So I just wanted to extend our thanks to you for that and Tom as well and everybody, all of our administrators in school. And then lastly, I would just also be remiss if I just didn't recognize that at least two of us have graduating seniors this year. So on behalf of the board, we extend our congratulations to the class of 2022. So, yes, they made it.
They made it.
We made it, yes, we weren't sure that.
Well, it's not over yet.
Not yet, we got
I don't know if
another
I'm gonna
8-9
make
days.
it. There's 2 more weeks. That's right.
But thank you, so I apologize for taking up the time, but I at least
No,
wanted to
absolutely.
recognize those.
I echo that. Thank you so much. We did make it through the year. And it wasn't always easy, but wow, tremendous, tremendous work that went on by both your administration and our board. We did it, right?
We did it.
So, thank you so much. Okay, do we have an adjournment? I'm sorry.
You need a motion?
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 Second.
Okay. With a motion and a second, if we can call the roll.
All in favor?
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Any
Thank
opposed?
you.
Yes.
You're-
No,
you're-
I want to stay.
You're adjourned.
Thank you.
Any opposition?